has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any corrections or changes?
I don't see any.
Okay, then can I have a motion to approve?
I approve that we accept the minutes as submitted.
Second.
Oh, well, both sides. All in favor? Okay. All right, they're approved. And I don't see anybody from the public here.
Maybe.
Actually, it's Jacqueline's mother's. Jacqueline's mother's. Yeah, we'll get to it.
Do we have packet updates to anything on the packet?
I think so it's the donations and the preservation, so those are both things that are listed on the agenda, if we wanna go through them in that
We can
order.
go in that order, I just
Okay.
wanted to make, I'm trying to follow
Yeah.
the description.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's start with old business. Anything on the grant project?
Well, we were hoping that you all would be able to view the completed library window. It was supposed to be done end of last week, or I think actually end of the week prior. But they got it back from the restoration, and the frame doesn't fit. So they're having to do some tweaking, but hopefully another 2 weeks. So maybe end of next week.
Well, before the Christmas holiday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be nice.
Before
promises,
before
but-
large amounts of snow.
Yeah. So that's where we're
Was
at
it a
now.
minor, just a minor not fit?
I'm not sure,
Oh.
hopefully, but, yeah, so still waiting on the window, and, yeah, I mean, that's where we're at as far as the
Better
actual-
that be done right. than
Correct,
wrong.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, yeah, definitely,
Saying shim stuck in it.
so, yeah, and not part of the grant project, I just changed the light bulbs yesterday, now another one is out. They go out like crazy. But anyhow, we also got the quote back for this and a few other interior things, so we'll be moving forward with that. Not part of the grant project, but just
Maintenance.
in general,
Yeah.
sharing that tidbit as well, so.
Can I ask you what the quote is on
I don't remember off the top of my
Okay.
head, but, and it includes that and several other items interior. So-
Okay.
Repair.
It wasn't a lot.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was under
It was under
$5,000.
5,000.
Yeah,
It's under what?
under 5 for this
For all the
and
things.
a few other things.
Under
Yeah,
5,000.
under 5,000, yeah. So.
All right. Let's move on to donations and contributions. Any news there?
Yes, so what we thought was gonna be the final donations policy is included in the packet. So it went through some other entities in the city, and this is what we got back, but then after that, so we thought it wasn't going through legal, but now it
It
is.
is going through legal.
So this, we thought was the final version, but it actually may not be after going through legal. So if they don't make any changes to it, or they make very minor changes, then I think it'll be finally done. It probably won't be on the agenda next month, we'll just move forward with it. But if they make major changes to it, then we'll show you the
Amended.
final version. So, yeah, so I don't know if you have a chance to read through, if anybody has questions or anything about it, but this is the version that's going to be going through legal. So there's kind of some back and forth about that, but it's gonna go through, so.
Move right along.
Yeah.
All right, PEO Founders Day program.
You skipped scrapbook.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Digitized scrapbook.
So I met with Ian Belter yesterday, who is, I met with him specifically to get ideas about what we would need to make the digitized scrapbooks ADA accessible online. And we had kind of talked about the maybes of that, but basically the long and short of it is that everything's gonna need alternative text to be accessible, which means
A lot more work.
yeah, articles are fully typed out, not summarized. Every image needs captions. We need to put together a table of contents and link those to the pages. And so, yes, more work. There is a program that ideally can pull information from typed text and put it like into a Word document to be used towards this, but things that are handwritten, it can't always pick up. So A lot of typing to create the alternative text would be involved in the project. However, the museum did confirm that we can use their scanners and they can assist us to some extent. I don't know to what extent because it's going to be a lot of man hours, but they can, I think, at least get us like set up for the project. So that's great. I mean,
Who did you work with at the museum? I'm just curious.
Eric,
Okay,
but I think he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be directly involved or he's one of the staff, but he also did say that they're very busy and understaffed right now, so I think we're going to reconnect after Thanksgiving and look at some timelines. But yeah, so that'll be 11 by 17 format, so it's not going to be exact since the pages are 12 by 12, but I think I think it works and it's going to save us thousands of dollars to get that content so that people can view it because it's really cool information.
Mhm.
So yeah, so we can do it through the museum, but it's going to take a lot of sort of tedious work. So I think the question is then it's up to you all if you still want to take on this project because it's mostly going to be you all doing it. I don't necessarily have the time to be super involved with it.
Would the board, like if somebody wanted to go in for an afternoon and type text or something?
Yeah.
That's kind of thing.
Yeah, so it'd be, you know,
Volunteer.
you all doing the scanning, doing the typing, you know, obviously I can help make sure it's ready for the website and those kind of things, but
Now, when it's digitized, can it be added or subtracted from to? I mean, it's like if you wanted to go through and digitize a whole book first as is, and then add the typing stuff.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, Ian recommended that we would scan it in and then work on like
Okay,
the
so they're
ADA.
available without the ADA, but that's a work in progress.
Yes, but it can't be on the website without being ADA
Okay.
accessible.
So,
But you could
so
still digitize all the
could still
documents
digitize them
for
to
your
have
own
them. Yeah,
record keeping.
yeah,
Okay.
that's true. The other recommendation, which we had kind of talked about in the beginning of the ideation of this project, was to maybe do one and see like how much of an undertaking that is, like see how much time it takes, see how accessible it is for y'all to do. What's that?
There's how many?
There's 10-ish and they're like 50-some pages each. Some are thinner. The very first one is probably the thinnest, so that'd be a good one to start with just to see what it's like. But yeah, it's not going to be a small project.
I'm sorry. I think from where I'm coming from, I think we already knew that it was going to be a long-term issue and project. Now, with the program that you're talking about, is that something that we could then? I'm trying, first of all, not to be in your way, and you know, it sounds like an expensive program. Is there something that we could take and download into a Word format and then work on it and update any writing that we do, or take the handwritten documents and put it in a Word document and then transfer it over? Is it
I think
compatible?
that's the idea. Yeah,
Okay.
and I am not super tech savvy in terms of that kind of stuff. So the other, and I don't know how many human resources we would have within the city that can help with that aspect of things. So I'll, you know, do my best to try to figure a lot of it out. The other recommendation was we may have to, I don't know, if we would have to hire like an archivist, tech support type person to maybe just on the back end of things once it's all, you know, to help compile it and get it in there. So that could be an expense, certainly still cheaper than having someone digitize the whole thing, but I mean, we might need some help. And I don't know if there are people within the city that have the time to dedicate as much time as we may need from someone on the tech end of it.
I think that at this point we're hoping to do this a lot of the work.
Yes.
As on a volunteer basis and being able to put it back in, but instead of putting a tremendous amount of hours and typing all the hand documents and stuff, I think we need to get in front of that and make sure that the program that we're using can, and what on our side do we need to that's compatible.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the actual functionality of
Yes.
the whole.
Yeah, because I can see putting a tremendous amount of hours putting in typing all the stuff out into a Word doc and do all that, and then guess what?
Doesn't match.
We can't. You wasted all that time.
So there's a possibility we may have to go there and type it in. Is there like a typewriter attached to the so it doesn't take a Word
At the
document.
library,
Yeah, I mean, is there some place?
a typewriter.
Not
Not-
Yeah, she did say that.
I was like, I don't know if we want to.
That's gonna take you a very long
Long
time.
time. What are you gonna do? Get the whiteout too?
I think access to a computer.
I mean, a keyboard available.
I'm following.
Yeah, I think, well, we have a second workstation here. I'm not sure about, what the library has available. I imagine there's open, public workstations there, so maybe something like that, so at least then you're still on site. So I'm not sure about those details, but
You can find, we can, that's something we can learn.
Yeah.
as we go.
I think what I'm hoping is that either someone at the library that knows the scanners and maybe kind of this process, or Ian or somebody can help make sure that we're all in line to get started. That we are doing the right stuff moving forward, and then we're taking on most of the actual doing.
The work aspect of it.
Yeah.
I know that Karen Cruz and I were working on that, and we take any other volunteers that want to help pitch in to type, and you as well. And I apologize, and it's one of those days, but we were looking at doing the scanning stuff, and if we can have a start point, and I think at least from speaking. I guess I'm going to just speak for myself. I knew this wasn't going to be just an overnight project. This is a long term, long term type of thing. But I think in the broad scheme of things, it's going to be a good thing.
Oh yeah, I'm all in support of it. I think we all understand the value of it, but
I have a
it's going to
question.
be a lot of work.
On the news articles that are in there, no, they have the typing from the newsprint. Will that be automatically, or does that have to be retyped too?
It depends on if this program can read that stuff. Theoretically, it can read anything that's typed text.
So that's the majority of it.
But even at that, you would have to
You need to
have
go back through and make
you would
sure
have
it
to
gets it all.
somebody
Yeah.
manually.
Some of those articles were so faint and
Yes,
kind
I
of blurry
figured.
that even
That
a
they mentioned.
photocopy of it didn't look
Like
so
wondering if we would have to get.
or a
Well,
scan of it.
Well, we could
That's
probably
what
go
we
back
asked.
through the film and see if we could get it redone, or possibly go and reach out to the Times Column and see if they could go through their archives and see if they would reprint it. It's impossible.
Boy, that's a lot of work.
It is, but they
Do
did
you
that
have a
for our
question,
pictures and did some other things
Well, I
too,
guess-
so.
I'm concerned about the longevity of this project and what might happen to it should it fall through the cracks. And it seems to me that there were some things from Callahan House that were already given to the archives. Am I
At the museum? No,
dreaming that up?
No, they do have, I don't know what's in it, but they do have a Callahan section of their archives that light just came back on, sorry.
Okay. So what I think I'd like to see in place is an alternate fall through or fallback.
Yeah.
So that if this project becomes too much or it lives beyond us, that arrangements be made that these things be given to the archives.
Sure, yeah, the digital, whatever.
Or
digital
whatever,
copies
or
come
the
out of
physical
this.
scrapbooks,
Well, I think,
so
I think that was
so
part
that
of
they
it
are
too.
not lost, because that's the purpose of
Yes.
doing this.
Right.
And I know, we could archive them right now, but then we don't have access to them to
Right.
use them for our purposes. But I think, just thinking in terms of longevity, that should this fall through, this is what we would like to see the backup be.
Definitely a good idea, and I think the idea was that once the scrapbooks are digitized, that they would then go
To the archive.
museum.
And I
If
think
they
I think that was the
Take
goal.
them, I assume that they.
Is that we would submit them to be archived and see, hopefully they would take them, but.
And we would just keep on hand the current one that we're working on.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's not
So
that goal.
that's where we're at.
But I
We
think
can do it within the city, which is great news. That was kind of the
Yeah.
question from the last meeting. But that's what it's gonna take, so that's up to you all if you
Yeah.
still wanna move forward with it. But
I'd like
I'm totally
to try to move forward at least with the first one, and
Yeah, I
I
think that's a good place to
absolutely
start.
agree with your
Do we
statement
need
that
a vote
we
on
have the
this?
backup.
Probably.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I move that we move forward with the scrapbook digitation process. And that we have a backup plan as stated in case, but I think we do start with the first one and go from there. So
Okay. Is there a
large
second?
motion, sorry.
Yeah, kind of a long motion, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll second. Okay, all opposed? Or all in favor?
I
Try to make it easy. Okay, I think it's approved. We're all having problems this morning with our mouths.
It's sorry, it's a day.
Okay, we can move on then to PEO Founders Day program.
Yes, I'm working on that as well. So Karen and I are getting together to do the PTO Founders Day program. We're going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation, and we'd like to present that to the board. The idea is that this probably will not be done until November, or even possibly the January 1st meeting, because the presentation is not until the 20th of January, if I'm correct on my dates. But we'd like to put it forward to the board to see, so you guys are aware of what we're doing and if anybody has any additional input.
So can I ask, the PowerPoint program is focused on the house? Okay.
So we're taking everything about the house and presenting it as in for somebody that doesn't know anything about the house, and we're going to take pictures and other things to include people in as we're speaking about the home. So basically, we're taking the tour that we do and just working directly off of that.
Okay. And the goal, I know the goal is for PEO to find out more about Callahan House. Our goal is
To do community outreach and make
and
sure
to
that
get more close to participate here.
absolutely. And it seems that they were one of the founding clubs. That's another reason why that we were asked to speak.
Yeah, they had reached out to us to see if we were interested in that program.
In fact, when I was in the gardens the other day, a lady from PEO was taking pictures. On top of it.
Great.
Okay, can we move on? Okay. So, 2024 flower order and grounds plan. And Brittany and I met with Parks. And do you wanna summarize it?
Sure, or you can, I think you've been good, unless you want me to.
I'll start, you can finish. Okay. Yeah, so we went over the current status of the fountain. We focused on the fountain. And Ben, not Ben Wagner, what was the other Ben's last name? Rotten. He explained that right now they are also focused on the fountain.
GRATTON, he's a parks supervisor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He mentioned that the leak is something they're focusing on. So there is gonna be some money put into that to fix it. But they're also agreeable to working, now, did they agree to take off a layer of bricks, or they're looking into it?
I think that's part of it.
I kind of took it as they agreed to, because
Yeah, I think they thought that
we
was
kind of,
reasonable.
we showed them a pack, I don't have one for everybody, but I can pass it around here, I've got some pictures.
I hate to stop you, but I want to rewind because for film purposes, what leak and what leak are you talking about?
Okay, in the plumbing of the fountain, there's a leak, so when it fills up, when Brittany has it filled up, it just slowly goes away. We're not sure where it's going.
Well, yeah, and to expand, there was a very bad leak this summer. I mean, it was draining within like 48 hours.
Wow.
So they've fixed it mostly, but the long and short is that the entire thing, system, cement itself, needs a kind of a big restoration.
Right, so,
So they're working on getting a quote for that,
and that will open the opportunity to
follow.
landscape it around it, because they may have to do some digging and stuff, so that might be a good opportunity, they're mentioning, to now revise the look of it too. Not so much revise it as make it back to what it was, which is more of a standalone ornament with maybe some minor flowers, but not all the brickwork and stuff that's around it now.
Yeah, the flower level would be
No.
lower
Yeah,
than
much
the level of the
it won't
fountain.
take over the
Yeah,
fountain,
yeah.
because right now it's kind of
Simplified.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we talked about the grass, the turf, putting a top layer of dirt on it.
Yeah, they're gonna be leveling this main south lawn here, well, hopefully, I mean, it depends on weather and things like that and schedules, but hopefully April, May of next year to get the main south lawn leveled, because it's
It's very tippy.
it's difficult for events and
Right.
things like that.
And then they
So,
reseed over that, and it would come out looking very nice. And it was the park, the golf course.
I think golf is gonna be helping with that.
Wonderful.
Because they're good at turf.
That's, yeah,
Yeah.
that's good, yeah, exactly.
So, and then we did mention that, that we're focusing on the fountain for this year, but there's more that needs to be, again, kind of reverted back to the elegant gardens that they were. They're kind of overgrown now. So they, they're aware of that, and obviously that would take a ton of money. So it's gonna be done gradually, and we'll just have to keep that on the agenda, keep coming. I would think the next project would be the driveway. That's pretty overgrown too, so, but that would be for in the future.
Yes, and then eventually the North Garden.
Yep,
which is
North
not
Garden.
the whole thing. But, and they got the flower order for
Yeah.
next year, which is
And we put
sun
in
patients everywhere.
Lindsay and the host does?
Yes.
Okay. I was gonna pass this around. This is kind of what we showed them
Just
for
like that we left that
the
meeting.
progression of the gardens.
I was like,
What
you have
flowers
everything you
did
need
you
for the
say?
order, so.
The sun patience is
I
gonna
guess,
go,
yeah.
it's like
I
a
was just like
impatience,
about
but it handles
You
sun
should have been
well.
like.
Yeah.
And that is, it's very
It's
showy and
really
very
something.
pretty.
I think they
but
put it
doesn't get
together.
old. How we're talking about that around the fountain and around the,
Yeah.
we talked about Lantina around the statues, because that's a little taller, but the statues can handle a little extra height, because they're so high.
So, Latina,
Latina.
L-I-T-I-N.
Lantana.
Yeah.
Lantana.
So I've got a question for you. With the
I put the dates of the
yeah,
pictures on there.
with the fountains and everything, are we gonna have to have historic concrete mix?
It's gonna be a historic restoration of the fountain.
I would think with the fountain, they do a very hard concrete, so water won't, percolate through it.
Is that something that, oh yeah, the difference. Wow.
This is my favorite right here. That's where it was just a small bit of flowers around it, not
But the difference between that picture and then this picture,
silver ground.
huge.
Overgrown. And these are just some samples of where they mold the concrete.
This is what it was like when I was there in the gardens,
like this.
7 months ago.
So,
Very simple, plain.
That's it. You guys want to pass that around? I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you to make
No,
some.
that's okay.
Thank you. Is this something that we should be writing a grant for or working on in that sense?
I think we talked about it as maybe part of the CIP budget. Am I remembering that
The
correctly?
garden or the
The fountain restoration.
I think we were waiting to get an idea of how much it was gonna cost
Yeah.
based on
The
damage assessment.
The fountain
Yeah.
would probably be a little pricey because with the repairs
Yeah.
and
But I think potentially capital improvement or
The PD,
I don't know,
140,
145, yeah,
One
public
thing
buildings.
to look
budget.
at, it's from the 1977 one, I guess that's.
But
what
if
it is.
neither of those
If you
are
look at
appropriate,
the driveway,
then-
there's just, did you notice that? There's just a narrow strip.
And there's not this huge.
And now it's 5 feet wide.
Which, the driveway?
The flower beds on the east side
Oh,
are at least 5
yeah,
feet
straight
wide, bushes,
yeah.
and they're 5 feet tall, so I
Wow.
suspect.
But I think that's
She
like
was
the
like
big.
standing on the other side of it.
I could see
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so if you look at the ones from 77, 72, if you can see the driveway, you can see it had just a very narrow border of flowers, which again was a little more elegant, I think. So,
Okay. So basically, until we know what the cost comes back
yeah,
out.
this is a
We'll
long,
see how we-
long-term project.
Yeah.
Pay for it. And if it's not a CIP or a PB 145 thing, then maybe a grant, but I imagine
Okay.
we can make it work.
So long-term with possibility of a grant.
Yeah, look into it. Okay, let's move on. Holiday open houses and holiday decorating.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in a little reverse order here, but so the decorating we've got set for 10 a.m. on the 29th. So hopefully everybody can make it, and we'll, Jacqueline and Betsy and I are gonna get together before that to get everything set out, so it's, easy for you all to, access and just have fun decorating. And I think the idea was that, see what we have for this year, and if anything really needs to be replaced this year, we can do that, but otherwise kind of make notes for next year, what to do differently if needed.
Okay,
So,
I am gonna bring something up. So I know the tree upstairs last year was pretty much, we did a storybook tree, but that, Connie Newman pretty much brought all the decorations and stuff for that. What's the plan for this year? Because
I
she's,
don't know
Oh,
what
she
to
took
put
it
up
out.
there, so.
I think there are decorations for that, just,
There were.
they just didn't get used.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of
there's a
tubs
lot of
up in the
stuff.
attic, so I imagine we can make it work. I don't know what's in there, I haven't seen any of the holiday decorations, but I'm sure we can make it work. But if we need to get a few new things for this year, we can do that, or make a list for next year
Yeah,
as
Okay.
we're going.
Yeah.
But
We
there's
should go
a
on
lot of
paper.
stuff up there, so I imagine we can.
Yeah, I think there was just boxed people, and you brought stuff when you were first.
Yeah, the stuff in this tree,
Yeah.
or in the study,
Yeah.
all the music instruments and
Right,
stuff
that's
like that,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
so,
So yeah, and then I guess we'll go out, take a break and go out to lunch at some point during that day. Okay.
Usually when we're done decorating. 'cause
Oh, okay.
Once you eat lunch, you don't want to come back.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, usually when we're done, then we
Okay, sounds good. And then the open houses, I think we wanted to set shifts for that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess you guys will get first pick.
So we have Santa,
Yeah, so Santa open house is December 1st, and it's from 3:30 to 7:30. So it's a little bit longer. I think it's a half hour longer than last year.
I'd like to take first shift if I could.
Okay.
Okay, what is the first shift?
Yeah, what are the shifts? So starts at 3:30, so
It actually doors open at 3:30.
Yeah, like at the first
Okay.
reservation time is 3:30. So 3:15 or 3 o'clock, what time do you need to
3:15 should be
arrive?
really enough to
3:15.
I'd like the first shift too, if possible.
Okay.
3:15 to,
And then it ends at 7:30, so 7:45, I guess. would be
5:30?
the final.
3:30, 4:30 to 5:30. They
Would be like
first,
the first shift.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then 5:15,
5:15
the second shift can come.
to 7:45-ish.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cindy and Maureen are on the first shift. Does anybody else want first shift?
I'll do first shift.
Okay. And then I guess, Anne, are you okay with second
Yeah.
shift with Karen and Karen?
Gets confusing when everybody has the same name.
Okay, and then,
you'll
obviously
be
I'll
here
be
the
here
whole
for the
time?
duration, yeah.
Will Jacqueline be
And
here?
I'm not sure, I
Yeah.
need to check with Jacqueline and Betsy if they're available.
Is there any particular room that you ladies want? Cindy?
I don't think it matters to me, wherever I'm needed.
I like the study.
I love being upstairs with the kids, seeing how excited they get to see Santa. And we have Santa already set.
Santa Pete, he's awesome, he came the other day. I met him and we kind of went over, it's the same Santa from last year. So we kind of went over what worked last year and what to change up. The same basic format, he's gonna be upstairs. I think his main thing that he thought would be a little better is if a few more kids can be waiting in the meeting room, instead of having them all outside, to have like 3 to 5,
Oh, okay.
the line coming into the meeting room so that they can kind of like see him and wait, instead of like an awkward
Yeah.
procession of like they're just like walking all the way in and he's in the back of the room.
That's probably a good idea. And it's
Yeah.
not a long wait with the reservations.
Yeah, they're every 15 minutes. It counts for a couple breaks for him.
I think some of them get really excited
Yeah.
when they see them and they rush towards them. So I think that's
We
something.
can move the tables and chairs and
Because
just
we
have
do a
everyone
line
coming
for
in.
Santa at Lights, you'll
Okay.
see, and they all the kids are in the gym, so they all see Santa for the 30 minutes that they
Okay.
wait to see
So they're not,
Santa. I mean, some
freak
kids
out.
are excited, but their parents are with them.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it here, but I've seen it over there where the whole gym is full of parents and kids, and Santa's all the way up at the front, and it's just a zigzag line.
Yeah.
The elves help bring one kid at a time up to.
Okay.
The thing is, it's great because then I can get the name, and then I hand off and I said, so-and-so's next Santa,
Yeah.
and then he'll say, hi, Joe, or Amy, it's so
Yeah.
great to see you, and it's perfect. And I love the fact that we put the carpet thing underneath the chair in case anybody has accidents or throws up because they get excited. And all
Plan
those
for all these things.
all those things, and then we have the chair there on top of it, so if there is an accident or kids are kids.
Yeah.
And then
Did he mention being able to end on time last year? Like, was that part of that?
He didn't mention that it was problematic, so I guess
Okay.
it went well.
Because with the debt reservations, you know.
Yeah, they're
works
over
out
15
fantastic.
minutes, and the
Pretty
last
much.
one then is at 7:15.
And then it
I
allows,
see a break.
it allows him to have a break and go to the bathroom
Okay.
or do whatever
Yes.
he needs
Yeah,
to do.
lights is very different. We're
So
always
how
like an
are
hour
the
behind
kids in
schedule.
line? Do they get fidgety or what? I'm just wondering if there's a way to entertain them while they're waiting, you know?
Because of the reservations, there's not much of a wait.
Okay.
Which really helps. I love the reservation
Yeah,
thing.
me too.
One
Yeah.
of the things that I do think is we had on display some of our things for sale and stuff upstairs next to Santa, and that was uncomfortable. I would like to be able to
Yeah.
put items for display maybe
Parlor?
in the
Parlor
parlor.
works out? Okay.
And so people have those things to look at prior going up there, and if they would choose to purchase, they can do that here
Okay.
instead of, because we didn't sell anything because Santa was,
Yeah.
it's
It's
just
not-
too
Yeah,
much, and the families were more intent on getting the pictures
Right.
taken.
Okay. And then,
Also, will the city be doing the reservations? Will we have, last year
Yeah,
there
it's
was something
set up the
that-
same, it's already ready to go. And I'm gonna check in at the front door, and then we'll have either Jacqueline or Betsy if they're here to do the
Yeah.
selling of the items.
I just wanna be downstairs, not upstairs, only because it gets so darn hot upstairs.
It does get warm.
Yeah,
That's fine.
So I just wanna be downstairs.
Yeah, I wanna
Okay.
be downstairs, it doesn't matter where, but,
Okay.
I mean, each of us can cover 2 or 3 rooms.
Sure.
Welcome.
I'll just be
Okay.
wherever they need me. 'cause
Morning.
I don't know where I wanna be.
My
Yeah.
sincere apologies.
No problem.
Was caught up in discussions about election.
Oh, yes, that. Okay, so have we covered everything on that?
Well, shifts for the regular open house, do we just wanna basically leave it the same, or do people wanna change it up? The
And
time
we
is a little different, it's
Let's
4 to
go.
7.
Go over the time again, please, so.
So
That's
4 to
only
7
4 or
for
5,
the,
that's only 3 hours?
yeah,
You know, we could just say
every,
not shifts
so a
for
year.
3 hours.
That's
Is that
true.
okay?
I think that's fine. What's the date again? Just so
The
we have it.
7th, December 7th.
December
4 to
7th?
7, yeah, that's just the
So
regular
just
open
everybody
house.
be there
Because
from
it's
4 to
only
7.
3 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I guess come at 3:45 to 7.
Otherwise, if you're an hour and a half and you're leaving. then-
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
To have us all there for December 7th.
Okay.
Sounds good. And that's just a regular open house, but with the decorations.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Thursday, I believe.
Thursday.
Alrighty.
The first is a Friday.
Okay. Let's move on to rental prices for 2024.
Okay. So that's finalized. And we've been sending out information to inquiries, and these rentals are getting booked for future with these prices. So basically, we haven't raised rental prices since 2021, I think. So we raised the hourly rate by 50% pretty much across the board. But we're simplifying the process and passing some of the additional rentals to, and when I say additional rentals, I mean like tables, chairs, linens, dinnerware, things like that, to our catering teams, which is actually pretty standard practice for event venues. So it streamlines the process, not only for us, but also for our clients and our vendors, to be more in line with market standards. So yeah, and part of the reason for the price increase was, it's kind of time, things are more expensive, but also in passing off those things to catering to simplify the process, that's a little bit of a loss. So to make up for that loss and also to be in line with market prices. So we're still very affordable, but we're not cheap, which I think is appropriate because we have a really special space here and we want, folks want to get married at Callahan House. So just kind of valuing what we have, but still being affordable for the community.
Okay.
So that's that.
That sounds good. And anything on the video?
Don't really have an update on that. We need to still put the quotes together. Haven't had time for that yet, but that's the plan. So no real update there.
Just working on what the quotes are gonna be.
Yeah.
Okay. What about our collaboration with other historic organizations? Any news on that?
Not really. I had connected over the phone with Elise from St. Vrain, and they were getting ready for Pumpkin Pie Day, so they were super busy. We talked about reconnecting after that. So I did reach out again, I think just last week, just to see about putting a list of historic events together to then pass on to Lava and the chamber. So seeing if she's interested in that. And if they're not, I can just still connect with Lava and the chamber to see what information they have about Callahan House and if they need some updates.
Is it possible that we could maybe, because January's a big meeting for us, we have new board members hopefully, and other things going on. Is there any way that maybe we can consider inviting them to the February meeting or even March and just reaching out and asking if they would like to attend our meeting?
St. Vrain?
Well, any historic groups that we're looking at collaborating with and inviting them to a specific meeting, so then we can maybe get a little more.
Sure, if they're interested. The only thing I would say is to have kind of a set purpose or idea about collaboration and what that looks like. Because if we just if it's too vague, then people don't really know why they're attending or what our intentions are.
And that's why I'm saying January, normally we start with a clean slate and we're thinking about various different things. So maybe we could put it, February is almost even too soon, maybe we put it for a March meeting, so we have a set idea of what we're doing. But if we could put it out there for a thought process that we could reach out to these and invite them to a meeting so people can meet face to face and kind of get and then we'll have a better idea. If you invite people and people absolutely shut the door on your face, then we know that there's they don't want to work with us type of thing. So,
or they just don't have the bandwidth. But
yeah. It's possible. But I don't know what everybody else think.
I'm looking at this from a different standpoint, I think. First of all, we've got Club Affair that we're dangling and have been dangling for
a long time.
So that kind of relates to this directly, because some of the historic organizations we're talking about are clubs.
Yeah.
PEO, for example.
Correct.
Sunshine Club. I mean, you could go down the line. There's all these organizations in Longmont.
So maybe we combine the two?
And we focus maybe on what is our goal. Is our goal to get more clubs in here to use this facility? Is our goal just to get our name out there? Is our goal to create this list to give to Lava and then let it go from there and whatever happens, happens? What's our purpose in collaborating with these and gathering these lists of historical?
You know,
I brought it up in the
important to
first
define
place.
It was just get our name out there.
Thank you. That's important to define. So we're not just like, hey, do you want to
Yeah.
partner with us? And they're like,
Because-
yeah, great. What do you want to do? And we're like,
Because I see that fitting the invitation to those
Yes.
groups, fitting perfectly into our club affair.
yeah.
I like that idea and the fact that you want focus?
I actually took that when you first brought it up, as just a way to get our name out there, that they would have us on the list of places to see.
Yeah, and not just, I mean, definitely to get our name out there, but to be more of a unified resource for visitors, so that when somebody's coming to town, or it's somebody who lives in the area but wants to see some historic places, they see it all in one place. Whatever's happening within a month's time or 2 months' time, there's one place to go to see what those events are.
So you were leaning more towards new people coming in, learning about us, having an option. Otherwise, they never hear about us.
Or people who are here to know what's going on
Yeah.
at all of the historic, instead of it being such a fragmented thing where, you'll get something from the city, but it's not going to tell you about some other organization or some other
Right.
historic landmark. I mean, it should just all be.
I also think that we face enough challenges. It would be nice if we could work together and lessen the workload and have a be able to meet what our standards are to get it out in the community. I can't tell you, the first time I've ever been to the house, when people coming into our first time, lived here my whole life, never been to the house. So I would like to reach those, and I'd like to reach the visitors as well. And I think personally, if we go as a group of historic importance to lava and whatnot, and say, here's all our information together, will be taken with a little more oomph, if this so to speak. And again, you got a lot of stuff on your plate as it is, Brittany. It would be nice if just the collaboration was there with these other groups. Now, I do like Candy's point of let's focus on exactly what our intentions are. I think they kind of overlap. I would like to see it be a two-pronged approach where we are getting our name out there to lava, and through the lava reaching out to the visitors, okay? And then creating this collaboration and possibly also reaching out for other clubs. So I have a three-pronged approach, I'm sorry.
I have another comment to throw in here.
Mm-hmm.
My sister-in-law contacted me and she wanted your information to contact you about rental of the house. And she never told me why. So I asked her, and she said it was in regards to the Sunshine Tea. The Sunshine Club does that every year, and they focus on a historic home in Longmont, and most of the time it's a private home. Well, they were interested in perhaps Callahan House, which I see as absolute wonderful opportunity because
Absolutely.
they advertise
Oh, that would be huge.
and invite people in. Well, the stickler is, number one, they have to have the information or have to have the go-ahead by January,
Okay.
which I didn't realize.
Yeah, I haven't.
And two, they bring their own food in for the people who come to the event. They also use these private homes for free because they want to collect as much money as possible for the dental work that they do for kids in St. Bringdown.
Oh,
That's why they collect the money, and they've done that over 100 years, I think.
Yeah.
So at that point, I just said would you like me to bring it forward to the board and we'll talk about it? So that's what I am doing. But that's just one example of how we could be part of
Absolutely. And it's
the community. It's already built in.
it's a win-win for us if we could do something like that where we're putting forth of who we are, we're helping this other thing, so we're doing in-kind donations type of things and working across the board. And they were one of the original clubs, so personally, it meets everything that we want, that we're working within the community for grant purposes and other things. Is there a way that we can do that? And I know in the past it said that we absolutely have to do we have to work with caterers and whatnot. Is that still
Well,
an
there's
issue?
been, I had reached out to Boulder County Public Health and got some more clarity about that. So if a client is renting the space, it doesn't pertain to our food license. So if the client wants to bring in food, they can bring in food.
Is that a requirement, they have to be renting the space?
Yes, but that
Well,
doesn't mean that they have
Let
to
me jump
be.
in there. We cannot waive fees, even though I agree with everything you said. In that it's a win-win, it's a group that coincides with us. The city doesn't get to pick and choose which charities we donate to. And we're hard and fast on that because it puts us in a very difficult position that just what I said, we don't pick and choose which ones are more worthy than other ones to waive fees, so we don't do it.
But we did set up a club rate for like nonprofit events that is very discounted.
There are ways to look at it, but we cannot give a free rental to a group like that. So I wanted to say that and then say let's
Yeah.
Let's look at what options we have with it. We have to work within our regular system, but we try to create flexibility within our regular system so that we can allow for things like this. So,
Which was the purpose of like the sort of nonprofit club rate that's outside of our regular clubs. There's like the a la carte club meeting rate that I think might be appropriate for something
Well,
like this.
is
which
there a way
very
that we
accessible.
could possibly have, I don't know, a community member pay for those rental fees type of thing?
well, anybody can pay.
Anybody
for
pay for it.
Sure. The answer is yes, for sure.
Okay.
But you understand where I'm
Mhm.
saying? with
I
that?
understand.
It's a question I have to answer
I
a lot.
absolutely understand, because if you open the door,
Folks
it's a
come to
floodgate.
us all the time in recreation about all of our facilities for that, and I would and if I'm running a private business, I would love to pick and choose the ones that I think are really important and really impactful. I can't do that as a city official, so.
I totally understand, that makes perfect
But
sense.
again,
Yeah,
like I said,
that
we
club
try
rate
to
is
create,
very, very
yeah, we
accessible.
try to create
Okay.
options within our own system.
So
and allow for
that's
flexibility.
a thought, and then
Yeah, so the question is, do I tell my sister-in-law she should contact you?
Yes.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, so with the collaboration, I think honing in on a focus when we go to these organizations and say, do you want to collaborate and partner with Callahan House? What does that look like? Because it's too vague. People are just be like, yeah, that sounds great. And then that's all, that happens. So,
So
coming up with that focus
Part of
and
that meeting?
please, yeah, and part of the focus is getting our information to LAVA so that they're passing that on to the community. But, if we're asking St. Vrain or whoever to partner with us, what does that look like other than a consolidated, if it looks like anything other than a consolidated list of here are events and here's our information to pass on to visitors.
how do we want to go forward with this?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, do we want to create a group or do we want to do it as the entire advisory board?
I personally think it's important enough that we need to do it as entirely.
Okay, so we need to set up a time then? I mean, when are we going to
Disagree.
approach this?
Well, it could be a focus for the next meeting, depending on
Do we want to make it
what the agenda looks
and then we can
like.
set some time aside to really focus on
Well,
talking about
Or
But
if-
are we gonna have some information and know who these other landmarks and organizations are before we work on it?
Well, maybe we do get a committee, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
My suggestion is we roll this back into club affair,
Yeah,
that we got a list from a few years back to start with, and that we start updating individually, we start brainstorming who we know about and figure out who the contacts are, which then in turn gives us that list for our club affair. So that we're not doing two different things, that we're using one
so
to
kind of
help
bounce
promote the
the
other.
collaboration off of Club Affair or vice versa. Do we want
So the club affair is somehow associated with all the historic landmarks in town?
It can be. It very well can be. So like all the PEO chapters, the Rotary clubs, the Masons, there's tons of different groups that are considered historic. They don't have to be, but that would add to our list. So
yeah, I think
you're doing.
maybe setting a committee to focus in on exactly what needs to happen and then looking within the larger board or
somehow we
everybody's on
need
the
to
committee,
define,
that's
yeah,
great,
we've got some great ideas on the table here, we need to
Yeah.
kind of define and focus them.
I wish we had other board members here. 'Cause
Yeah.
You can't sign, well, you could, but that would be
This is a
evil.
good time to
I will
sign
do
things.
that. By the way, they're gonna do that. So, so
Tell you what.
basically,
Why don't we move on to the next item, Club Affair, and get that, and then kind of combine these before we vote on anything.
Yep.
So, without voting on collaboration, let's move on to Club Affair, because one thing I wanted to establish today was a date. We've vaguely thrown out February, that may be way too soon for all the work we have to do. But I think we should at least put a stake in the ground and let's set a date for Club Affair. And then we can focus on that date then. So again, I'm saying February is probably too soon, and this would, especially if we're collaborating, because we have a lot of research to do.
I'd suggest that we take a look at the summer and we use the, wait until the gardens are in bloom, and that we make use of the outdoors and the new things that we've planted and make it a big event
Okay.
that the weather's not going to mess with, which could.
Colorado weather, come now.
So we look at maybe June.
June is already pretty packed with weddings.
Okay,
Just,
so
that's
that's
well, depending on if you want this to be weekend.
There you go,
events.
I was gonna say, what about a weekday on this? Week evening, maybe.
Yeah, what days did we do it in the past? I think we
According
did.
to your letter,
It says Saturday.
but, yeah, we hate to take away income, and
Mhm.
weddings are income.
Okay, yeah,
But
I
if we
agree.
could do once daylight saving time comes back, it's light till 9:00. So I mean, we could do an early evening in the gardens if you wanted, or inside.
Well, not necessarily all outdoors. I'm just
Okay,
saying
few
that
tables, though.
we could showcase
Oh, okay,
that.
Yeah.
And use, use the good weather. Just
Yeah.
give us some time.
I think there is one weekend in June that's open. I don't know which one it is, but it could, if we want to, weddings
Yeah, but
are
you don't want it.
I wanna defend you a little bit there as
That's
far
a
as
lot.
look at, and I know we're working towards you not being as involved in long-term on all of these weekend events, but big weddings are one where you'll definitely have to be involved, and so I want to be really conscious of your time with that too.
Appreciate it also.
So you need to think about that and make good decisions there. 'Cause if you're working 6 weekends straight, that's not good for anybody.
So
So
maybe,
I don't
Well,
see
but
a
if we
weekday.
if we get a wedding in June, it wouldn't be the same thing. I wouldn't turn it down, for that reason, but I appreciate it.
I will leave that to your judgment. That's
Okay.
that's
What
okay.
about Wednesday? Wednesday night's midweek.
maybe in the
Wednesday nights we
back
have
up.
clubs.
But we've got work going on. When is the grounds closed for all the work going on?
Theoretically April, May, but we'll see about that.
I mean, we can still have one in-house, but they might be tearing up the grounds right now. So,
It's just a lot.
no, but we can still
I
use
think
the
we need to
house.
buy more time. We're not ready
I-
February.
It's too soon, and quite frankly, we could push it to August. So, I think July's bad because everybody's traveling and doing other things. We could push it to August.
A lot of clubs don't even meet during the summer.
So,
Which actually could be an advantage. They could have a special.
Maybe early fall, August, September.
Again, let's keep the.
Well, let's say late next summer for now.
Because we
or
do
early
have
fall.
art walk in September.
Oh, that's true.
Normally, so that's a big thing.
it is a big thing. That's why I said August might be a good thing because it's normally when people are starting back up in the thought process of the clubs. We could possibly do things then. Just
Okay.
Can we
pushing
pick a
it
date?
out there.
I was just hoping we could pick a date today. Get something. Like I said, which could be flexible, but at least it gives us a focus.
I like the idea of June, but again, I understand we don't want to.
Yeah, I retract it.
But then, and May is completely off the table because of any work and quite frankly, graduations and all sorts of.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so
Crazy
August
month of
seems good.
Let's see what
I'm just trying to pull a date out there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking August.
There's
And
5 Saturdays in
Stick,
August.
stick with the Saturday. There's no rentals yet for August next year.
And then we could go for a Saturday then.
We pull the calendars out.
The 3rd, the 10th, the 17th, 24th, the 31st.
Fast on the draw with the calendar there.
And Art Walk will be early September, so
Yeah,
maybe
it's usually-
stick to early to mid-August, just so those aren't too much back to back for people.
If you do the 17th, school will have started, which tends to make people generally back into that flow, even if they're
The
not
first 2 weekends.
school age. The first 2 weekends, there's so much,
Stuff going
people are
on.
getting things done,
Yeah.
they're finishing vacations.
So actually, the 17th and beyond is a better.
In my opinion, the
Yeah.
17th would probably be a pretty good one. We have-
I'm personally
our
thinking
triathlon.
the 17th or the 24th is really
Yeah,
the
those
best dates.
Either.
Flip a coin.
I would
I'd
go
go
for
for
the
like the middle.
17th.
Yeah, I'd go with
because
the
Let's go 17th.
We have the 24th is our triathlon.
Oh, okay, there you
Oh, I
go.
was trying to think what happened in August.
I should,
Right.
what's happening? I
August
can
17th.
Google what's happening August 17th, just to see if we're missing something.
So is there a committee then for Club Affair, or how does that work?
We haven't started.
Yeah, we tried
We
last
should.
month, I thought we could, since we didn't get a committee, we could do it just as a group.
That's how it was done before. It was volunteer
Yeah.
meeting outside of our regular meeting, and everybody was included.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think we could leave it at
I
that.
think it's a big enough event that I
That
think
we're gonna meet
everybody should
everybody.
work on.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this gives us a lot of time.
So does somebody want to like chair that and start organizing times to start meeting?
Well, unfortunately, my term ends in December.
Right. And we did not get
Or we could leave it
any
with
other
the
applicants,
chairman.
so there's gonna be 5.
It's gonna be a late group.
Yeah, but I think the idea is that they can open it mid-year.
Maybe.
But yeah, there's 5 of you all.
So this is it for now?
Yeah.
Until when?
Middle of next
Potentially
year.
May.
So just something to keep in mind.
Well, I don't mind co-chairing. With what I've got going on, I don't know for sure.
Sure.
You know,
Do you wanna bring it up at the next one since we're missing both Karen?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we can get a
And if
volunteer
nothing
co-chair
else,
with you,
the-
Candy, at the next one.
Yeah, with everybody participating, the actual chairman of the advisory
I
board.
think
could
with
do it.
both of us having health issues, I don't think putting both of us as a co-chair is a
So
good issue.
right now,
so-
everybody's a co-chair.
Two co-chairs, but, yeah.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that for now, and we'll try to run it as a group.
Okay.
Okay.
And then based on what goes on with Club Affair, looking back to collaboration with other kind of lovely
Yeah.
ones in.
That's one thing, let's see, where is all the items about the groups, is that printed out, the spreadsheet? With all the groups?
Oh, yeah, I've got it.
Oh,
I did give her a copy of.
okay.
So maybe somebody else should you keep this then?
I can send it to you, and then you can send it to everybody if you want.
Okay.
Just keep in mind, it's really out of date.
Yeah.
It's just a, kind of a starting point.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, if you wanna look at it, I forget why they were highlighted. I guess those were the people that participated. So like we've got the golf groups and teacher groups, geology groups,
Oh, wow.
newcomers groups.
This is amazing.
So in
Thank
the
you for
meantime,
finding
for
all
collaboration, since I had already reached out to Elise at St. Brain, if she's interested in a list for lava, we can still kind of work on that, but the other part of it can get wrapped in with Club Affair.
This is
So
amazing.
while we're talking about a club affair, everybody should have these copies of the letters that were sent out back in 2010. I believe they ran club affair twice, 2010 and 2014. So here's the 2 letters that went out, and then there's a flyer that they also had. So that's good to review, it kind of gives you, I really didn't know what club affair was all about until I read this. And then I thought, oh, now it makes sense to me.
So it was a fundraiser.
Yeah.
That's how it started. It was just a fundraiser. So we rented the tables, and that was where our income came from. And of course, then the side effect, of course, was that we would get clubs to meet here. But it combined 2
Right.
different
But
purposes.
yeah, this letter cleared all that up, so I was like, what are they talking about? I still don't understand what this club affair is.
And there could well be a better name.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to stay club.
It's kind of cute. Who thought of that? That's cute. It's cute.
I don't know, maybe I did.
Who
knows? Maybe I was smarter than I don't know.
Take credit, no one else is doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody can
That
justify
was
against
mine.
I wrote all the
Candy
letters.
did it. It's on the letter, so she can take all credit
Yeah,
for it.
you did it. You're a chairman. So.
Connie did the flyer, Connie Newman. And I don't know if there's anything in records that Leslie would have had, and then Kathy did it too.
I'll take a
So
look.
there's probably far more than what I managed to save on my
Okay. That was good that you had that for 10 years. Your
maybe I
computer.
won't lose a lot of stuff, but I'm surprised I have.
It's amazing that you can find your life. Who knew?
All right. Okay, so
Where'd this come from? Where does it
No,
need
where
to
it's
go?
at.
that's
Okay, thank you.
So I'll just send that
You've got it
to you.
digitally.
Or is that what you wanna do?
I'll just send it for now, and then it can be passed out, especially when we start discussing more in depth.
Okay.
Can I back up a minute to, did we go back and finalize anything?
No, we haven't, so I don't know if we can really finalize anything today, because we're short-handed anyway.
Yeah, I think the idea is I'll still keep connection or see if I
Right.
get back from St. Brain if they wanna have a list for lava, but other than that, we'll kind of wait until the club affair committee gets formed and then see how to focus in on what that means.
Right. And since we've got so much stuff coming on up in November, December, I have a feeling it might, I don't know if the December meeting will be able to really finalize it. We'll try, but it may be January. Alrighty, anything else?
Can I say though, in the meantime, if you hear of a group and you know who's in charge of it, write it down,
Yeah.
keep track of it, send it to Brittany maybe?
Okay, so let's move on to new business now. Review the future house restoration and preservation projects. That sounds so dull after all this interesting stuff.
So in the back of the packet, I just kind of, there was an old list that was floating around, some new things that have come up, some things that have been completed since then. So this is just kind of a cleaned up summary of where we're at. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has things to add to it or
Well, and the
what the
current
process is.
ideas and docket involve the things that we've got for Kevin to work on, the small things with that, including
Yeah.
this.
And I
So
put
it's a
that
small
under in
project,
progress.
right. And then, I think one of our ideas was maybe we support trying to work on the fountain based on our meeting with Parks, with some funds that we may have available. Parks does not have money for that, but depending on the cost, maybe that's something we can get involved with. And then there may be some cost as far as working with golf on some of the lawn work out there too, that we need to look at. So I think that's probably good for the moment as far as that stuff. So then I think the focus or the idea then would be, what other things as far as getting them on the list at this point. I think we've got enough of a itinerary going, but what other things should go on there as we move forward.
When we're talking about the gardens, we focused on the fountain. Do we want to itemize, but obviously in years to come, these are the things, or do we want to just leave it? Oh, okay.
No, I would do that. Let's get them on there. This is a living list.
Okay.
So let's get those ideas on here, and then we can check mark them off. We can adjust them. We can, as we start to move forward. So.
I think that's that we keep this as a working list so we know what we're doing, and then the bottom line is, if we don't have a working list, it's not going to happen. I think, we always have the things that, the wishes and the wishes, the wants, and the things that
and the needs.
and the needs, and I think, and then we can see how we're moving forward. I think it's very helpful.
How do you want that presented? The list, do you want?
It could be just get the ideas to Brittany.
Okay.
We'll keep working with this list.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
Lives in Excel, so.
Do you want to maybe put together what we've already discussed, and then we can see if we need to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's here, this is updated from that. The only thing that is missing that Ben mentioned is the details for the plans for the gardens. So the fountain's here, lawn leveling is not on here. So yeah, I think the stuff from the grounds plan is not here, so I can add that, but if there's anything else.
Well, the driveway, put in order
Right,
of
the
importance.
details of the grounds plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the back garden here.
Yeah, but anything outside of that, if you see something here that.
No, I think if we have that, those are big
Yeah, because then it's a living document, and we can come back to it here and there.
Okay. While we're looking at this, what's happening with the stove and the auto?
Oh, the stove.
Yeah.
the stove.
Yeah, on the list.
Yeah, we've basically been ghosted by the original company that was gonna try and help us with that. So I started reaching out to some other ideas, and that's where we're at.
Okay.
So Yeah.
challenging finding.
There's not a lot of people that can
Right company.
help with that kind of a thing.
It's mainly getting it in the narrow doorway, right?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, but
Both
part of it
ways.
has to come up, like, it needs to be partially disassembled and then reassembled in the house in order to do that. So,
Yeah.
that's where we're at.
There's no way to make the doorway just a little bit bigger.
We don't wanna,
you can, I mean, you can do anything, but that would
Should
be
we?
like our
No.
last
No.
result, or our last.
Well, I mean, if it's not something that absolutely is gonna work, is this a possibility that we sell it and do something that's more functional to begin with?
maybe.
Bob?
We could get there. I don't wanna entertain that quite yet, but we could get
Just
there.
throwing it out there,
Yeah,
that
fit through the front
It'll
door.
still have to fit
it
through all
still
the
has to
other doors.
fit all the other
Yeah,
doors,
they're
and
all-
that's
They're
quite
all
a.
small.
Yeah, Jess was like, you could forklift it
Yeah,
through the open window,
There-
but then
It could be done.
Well, the window's out, maybe
It
that's
could
not the
be
worst
done.
idea.
There you go.
Getting the right combination company of moving and
Yeah, I reached out to
Connecting
some
and
moving
such.
companies, they don't do that, and appliance companies are.
yeah, so it's just it's an oddly unique thing.
Is that an option? Put it into window while there's no window? It's not the worst idea.
Yeah, it's really not a bad idea.
Oh, then how do you get it out eventually?
You only got 2 weeks now. You could.
But then I don't. You might have the same problem there, just getting to the other
And
doors.
through the other door, through the
Yeah.
bathroom
Measure all
to
the
get in.
doorways.
Alright, I'm gonna.
That's
They'll
the
measure the
issue.
doorways, really. Yeah, the reason I brought up mentioning that door a little wider is because that could become more of a I mean, this is the historical part of the house, and that's more of the service area. It might be,
Now
Nice.
the problem is we got that transom up there,
um,
and don't want to mess with that. And then we've got stained glass on the other one, and
okay, I just, maybe
So-
one service entrance, that would be
For a-
handy.
for
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, I'm working on it, it's
Okay.
strangely not a lot of people are willing to come help with that, but.
Never been bested by a stove before.
the whole thing with this stove thing is pretty much a disaster. So
It's frustrating.
I feel like we probably, like you said, we probably in the first place could have just got a 30-inch stove and just been fine with that with the amount of stuff that we do here. So that's the last result, last option, and if we have to get there, we can. That gets ugly. When the city tries to sell stuff, we don't, it's not a realm we do well.
I agree. It's a muddy water.
We put it out to auction, and we don't really have the money available, and it's just,
It's ugly. I don't want to even, but.
it's there. It's there. I've
It's
thought
there.
about it. I've thought
And
about it.
then the other issue is, what's wrong with the stove that we currently got?
I honestly don't know.
So just throwing it out
there's-
The way
there.
the CIP budget works is
But
you kind
there's
of have to plan
general
ahead.
lifespan of things you
Mhm.
want to replace, whether they're operational or not. That's a policy we try to stick
Although
with.
that's fine, I don't know.
Stick with
Stuff,
general
but
lifespan of things because you won't have another
this one is,
opportunity,
yeah.
and then you'll be.
Ben, I totally get it, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. And I have been here at events where there's been the gas smell. I'm gonna state that I'm not sure that it's the stove as it is the venting.
Yeah, we've had that checked out several times by Excel and facilities team, so basically it is what it is, it's the setup of the house and it's gonna vent out there when the boiler gets kicked on, so. But there's nothing wrong with it, it's just the way that it's set up and it's an old house.
Let's see what we can do, and then
Okay.
we'll
Run it
if
out.
we need to make some other decisions,
Not trying to,
we'll fill you guys in.
I was just curious if I was hoping to make Ann's dream come true, having Santa
Having
up
an
there
outfit for
in the
it.
autumn house, but that's never, sorry.
It'll
So
happen.
We'll still volunteer next year.
And we'll say, Ann, come back, we're doing it. We
Yeah,
are
you tell me you're
doing
doing
it.
it, I'll come back. That's a deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where
All
are
right,
we
is
at?
that enough on future house reservations? Any other comments? Okay, let's move on to annual reports.
I'm sorry, so does this stay on here then, the agenda where it's at, the restoration and preservation projects?
Good question. Move it up to old business, I guess.
Wait a minute.
I just don't know if there's gonna be much to touch on
It
for
doesn't
a
really
while.
need,
So,
maybe leave it at, because we can bring it in as an item from staff if there's something.
okay, so leave it off unless there's,
Yeah,
Leave it on there.
I think leave it off. And
Yeah.
let it, you know,
So
so
do I
next
say-
year there might be
So
something.
do I make note of that?
yes. No, I don't think that's something you have to put in the minutes.
The only other thing is we could always bring it up by items of the board or along those lines if one of the board members that's not here wants to add additional items.
Sure.
All right, so I won't do anything.
Okay. You know, since we're talking about things to leave on the agenda or not, I'm just gonna jump up to the top. Number 4, discussion of packet updates. Every time I bring that up, we never, because it's always down in the new items or something. So do we really need number 4 on our agenda?
I don't know, sometimes there's stuff in the packet that's not posted on the agenda.
Just a thought.
I personally just leave it as we have it because it gives us the opportunity.
It's
to
one of the
address issues.
standard
Okay,
things.
just a
that's-
thought
that's
there.
done. I mean, it could be skipped. I don't mean skipped, but it could be
Yeah.
no updates.
Because we usually go back down to new items or items from staff when we
Yeah.
talk about it, so no big deal though.
But I was gonna, like, the grounds plan and the rental prices will be gone from the agenda next.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, now we can discuss, last month I handed out a rough draft of the annual report that'll be presented, and if anybody had corrections or additions. Amazing. Okay, so we can go forward with this then.
Okay.
And you'll get to see me somewhere next year, come in and sign it, you can give me a cup of coffee.
When does that get handed in, like, do we need to leave
You'll
this
need at
on
the end of
for?
December, well, you'll have to fill in the blanks.
Right.
With the amount in
Um,
January.
But, like, if Karen has stuff they wanna add to that, is that still gonna be on here for December, or it's?
I think it should.
Probably can, yes.
And I think it should, just as in principle, because the full board's not here,
Yeah.
and then we can,
But for now, it's looking okay, so that's.
Is that in here or that
That
was
was
given
here,
you?
no, did you
It was
guys?
at the last meeting, I should have included it again, but
I don't think,
I
I
emailed
wouldn't
it
have gotten
to you.
I gave it to you there now, you have it.
I think I sent you a digital copy, Candy, since you were gone.
Okay.
And then, Anne, when does that need to be finalized, when do you need my numbers? So we won't
I
have,
think
like,
you
the
don't
full
turn it in
December
till
numbers,
February, when does
Well,
it?
city numbers aren't done till like May.
Okay.
But we can put in our numbers.
I think our
Once-
numbers are what we should put here, so
Like,
Once
at
we
the
have
beginning of
ours, it should be,
January?
let's do the cutoff December 31st.
I would say, well, yes,
Right.
cutoff's December 31st for sure, but you wanna give it a couple weeks for things to process through. And I think mid-January you should be able, so by February, you
we
should be
can
able to
submit
have
it.
everything.
Yes.
Okay, so
That's
that's who I
it
give that
to
to,
city
since you
council.
will
That's it.
be on the
My
board.
mind, let me run that by Jeff, and just get his thoughts on that, but
Okay.
that's what I feel like would be, pretty solid on.
Or I guess that'll go to whoever's chairing the board
Well,
in January.
what we did this year, I could come in and sign it for you, because it's supposed to be the chairman who's chairman of this.
We can put it
together.
That's how it's written in
Yeah, the
the
bylaws, so
bylaws.
you can, like I said, you guys can give me a cup of coffee.
Okay.
You've got to bribe her by giving her caffeine, so.
I like my puppy, I'm food receptive.
Okay.
And admits it freely, so there you go.
Alrighty, so let's keep going then, so we gotta take care of that. There may be additions next month to that.
Okay.
Now, are there any items from staff?
Yeah, did you have something?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
first I want, and I'm sure, I know you guys talked about the flowers, I wanted to thank you again for taking the time to meet with Parks. I thought it went very well. And I did talk with Timber, who's the superintendent, about that meeting. I apologize that we kind of laid a lot of stuff out there without him being there, but he was very gracious about it. I told him what we thought Ben was great. He was
Yeah, he's
super
very
helpful and receptive, and I reemphasized, I said, we have to be cautious. That relationship with Parks is something that we work hard to maintain and need to, and that's time immemorial for that, from recreation to Parks. Yeah, I emphasize that, these are the directions we want to go. We don't have, this has to be, we're not telling you what to do, but we want your guys' buy-in on the directions we're going.
He was
He
good with
understood that, he was good with that, so.
What is his name?
Timber, Tosti, Timber just like you think, and T-O-S-T-E.
Oh, Timber's his first name?
Yep.
Okay, I was thinking that was his last name.
So, so yeah, I think we can continue to move forward with our ideas and we'll focus. And I told him, I said, let's get a cost for that fountain and see if we can work that in here, and then we can look at the budget here. That would be one of those items that maybe we can try to support with.
Well, Ben, you weren't here, so we did, I did bring up the point, is this something that we need to look for additional funds outside if it becomes off the charts? Is this something that we need to do a grant for?
Let's, I hope not. I'm hoping we're in the few $1,000s. We're not gonna rebuild the thing, but there's some guts in it. It's gotta be redone, so I'm hoping it's not historical work. I'm hoping it's mechanical work.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so that, but let's see.
I already
Yeah.
put it on the table just in case, so that we're aware of it.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
I have something to share.
It's staff time.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, maybe I had something quick.
Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped the
You're
gun.
the next
I do have a couple of things. Next month, wondering if everybody would be available to have the board meeting on the Tuesday at 9 a.m. instead of the Wednesday. So it'd be Tuesday, December 13th. Reason being is there's a training that Kristen and I need to attend that only ever takes place on the second Wednesday of the month at our normal board meeting time. And we've asked if that could be moved and it can't, so we were wondering if the supervisory.
So you want it on the 12th?
On the 12th
Oh, it's
instead
the
of?
12th. I thought it was 13th.
I'm available then.
Yes, the 12th, at 9 a.m. if that's possible.
Works for me.
Okay, and I'll ask Karen about that as well, but if that's okay with everybody, we appreciate that.
Let's make sure we get buy-in from everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because otherwise, I would say we'll push your training out.
Well,
This is more important than that. So.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I thought
we've
we
reached
were
out to
asking
them a
about
couple of times about it and they weren't able to move it.
No. Well, this would be first option, but if Karen, and I'm assuming Karen would be okay with that.
Okay,
So that's,
But
I
if they
think
can't,
that's
we'll-
great.
okay.
If not, this meeting is important, particularly in this one.
Yeah, December.
Ending.
End of year
Last-
meeting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
first option, move to the
12th, if possible, but if Karen cannot, then we'll have it at the normal time and we'll.
Just again,
I
I'm not changing my
But I
calendar.
appreciate,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll confirm once I hear.
Will you send
schedule
an
that.
email?
Yes. Yeah, I'll send an email
Oh,
confirmation
God.
once I hear from them.
Oh,
Because we can't wait for next
Oh,
month.
whoa, I may be okay.
Are you sure? Because
Yeah.
that's a total bear. I know I'm going in for infusion tomorrow, so I get it.
Oh, that's right, that helped.
Yeah, if that doesn't.
I haven't, that's not set in stone, so let me work that out. See if I can change that to the 13th. I could change it.
Because coming
If
the
not,
day after,
we'll,
that's.
why don't we wait until you hear from the other Karens? Yeah,
Yeah.
before you do
And-
any,
and
any of
Candy
this work,
look
you
into
can't be
that.
then. Yeah, because we'd
Yeah.
love for everybody to be here at the
Well,
last meeting of,
And sometimes it's better to keep those very uniform.
yeah. So yeah, if that doesn't work, we'll,
Okay. So we'll hear from you either way.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk to Karen first and we'll confirm with everybody, but. The other thing is a date, available times, early December for a lunch, annual holiday lunch that we typically do. Does anybody have availability for that, or have we done that on a weekday in the past, or
Could we just do it after the board
Yeah, they
meeting
did
on
after
the
the
12th?
is that what we
yeah,
usually do?
after the
Yeah.
board meeting.
Normally
Okay.
just do
I
it
think-
after the board
right?
meeting. Yeah, that's what we've
So
always
that'd be
done.
the 12th and
Okay.
13th.
Yeah,
Sounds
is that, okay.
Possibly the 12th, and then we will just do the lunch afterwards.
It makes for a
If we
short
can.
meeting too.
It does.
We don't talk as much.
No, when we were like, oh, food.
We're all food receptive.
Okay, I'll double check with Green's point about that.
And then in the past, I know we as board members have done a ornament exchange.
Okay.
Is that something that we would like to still do?
We can.
Or if we don't want to, that's fine too.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm not a big ornament person, so, but it's fun. I mean, we have, you have to steal, you steal. So it's kind of
Is it like a white elephant but an orange?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we could do
That's
it.
fine.
Well, it's a nice one.
Sure. Yes, yeah. Nice white elephant.
Yeah.
I think
But as
it's
opposed to
it's a nice
yeah.
tradition. I like to.
We could do that same day too.
Yeah, I think
We do it all
Yeah.
at that time.
Okay,
And
so
is
we're
that
doing
just
the,
between board members?
and you're involved,
Well,
and
in staff.
anybody.
I want to do it.
I just,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
any
if you
kind
don't want to,
any
you don't
kind
have
of
to.
tree ornament?
Yeah.
Yeah.
a table. Or
Yeah, I guess if you don't want to participate, then you don't bring one, but then there's enough
Yeah.
for everybody that participated.
That's
That
exactly.
wants to. Okay, great.
So we've always included staff. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
so whoever's at the luncheon.
Do we didn't we usually put like a dollar limit, just so, or
Yeah.
suggested, so people don't feel like you know,
You know,
Sure, yeah.
what was that, like, was it 15 grand?
15 is it?
15 is what we've been doing
Okay.
for our.
Yeah, because prices have gone up a
Yeah,
little.
prices
so
have gone up.
Unfortunately.
$10 you can't get much. I
Yeah.
mean, if you go over, that's your choice, but that way you kind of have an idea of
Keep
what
it, yeah.
people are spending.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Nothing too over the top.
Yeah.
One last thing, another potential piano has come to light. So I have a photo. It's a Smith and Barnes Victorian upright circa 1900. Don't know the exact details other than that, and difficult to tell exactly what kind of condition. But if we're interested, it actually does come. So we need to go through the donations process when that is finalized. It does come from staff potentially. It would be donated, but we'd have to cover the cost of moving, just like some.
I was gonna mention, we got one too that a friend is wanting to get rid of.
Yeah.
I was waiting for a picture of it, actually looks very pretty.
Yeah.
That one's ornate.
It's certainly
I don't know
appropriate
what
to
that
the
is.
era. It's hard to tell some of the edging. I'm not sure about the condition, but it belongs to Jacqueline's mother. So that's something else that we have to go through the process, because it is related to the house.
Yes,
So,
it is.
but
That's
certainly
gorgeous.
beautiful piece and certainly period appropriate.
Yeah.
I think they have kind of a quick timeline that it needs to be decided upon. So
How tall,
I don't
that looks
know,
like a
but-
tall one.
It is.
yeah,
So
I don't know.
actually, I think fits more with the era, just they have to find someplace else for some of that stuff.
Well, I think it would be in replace of this one.
Mhm.
Well, I've been replacing
Would it
it
fit
with
underneath?
pictures and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
how
get
far
the-
you have the.
I would get the
Just
dimensions.
let her get the measurements and.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure we don't have a
Width.
problem with the doorway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ornamental stuff is pretty big. It's a little like.
Anyway, I also
Yeah, I'm
have a
wondering
friend who
about
has
some
a
of the-
piano,
the
they'd like to donate, but I'm waiting for a picture of it.
Okay,
I think the bottom line is we should be choosy on what we.
I agree.
So, yeah, if it's got dents,
If it's really.
and the one that I know that these people are trying to donate is just been, it's playable, it's very playable, but I don't have a picture of it, so I was gonna, if I get one, I'll send it out.
On
so
that
we
note-
want one that shows up that's in fairly
Yeah,
immaculate good condition.
yeah, like the one we lost.
Yeah.
Unfortunately or fortunately, just the other day, I had a couple of these 3 different community members have come up to me and talked about the piano upstairs and if it's still in working condition and how much they appreciate having that there and whatnot. So I think it's important if we do choose to replace this, we're gonna do it a nice thing that we're not
So-
just doing a piano to do a piano.
Right. So dimensions on this and maybe a little more clarity about the condition that it's in, because it's a little hard to tell in some of these
Yeah.
spots.
And also,
I'm
is
wondering-
it tunable?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not.
Yeah, make sure
Okay.
it's playable. And is there a bench that comes with it?
Yeah, there's one dual here. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, because we don't, we want a nice one, we don't want another one.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, we've got to
Okay,
figure out.
well, I'll get some
Because
more information.
we're now gonna be the ones that are going, okay, what do we do with this? Who's gonna take it? And okay.
That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay,
Now?
now items from.
This is about wreaths across America. If you'd like to take a flyer, I don't know if you've heard about it, but I participate every year and I have a special wreath that I have put on my father-in-law's grave and my dad's grave and my boyfriend was in the army and so I did him a wreath too. And if you dedicate it to someone, they will actually announce their name specifically and what branch of service they were in, and then you can go put the wreath on their grave if they're in Longmont. It doesn't have to be, you could do it in honor of somebody who's not buried in the Longmont cemetery, but anyway, I think it's a worthy cause, and so
What does the money go to, just veterans?
yes,
That's always a good cause.
Thank you.
nonprofit,
This is great.
nationwide organization.
Yeah.
But make sure it goes to Mountain View in Colorado, in Longmont.
I know
There's
too,
another one.
need to be on there, so that'd be great. Thank you. Items from the board. I hate to even bring this up, but I'm going to have to. So I was speaking, both Karen and I were speaking, going back to our PEO Founders Day program. Edie, who reached out to us in the first place, was asking about a painting that was donated to the house that was originally done by the artist Maureen, and I can't remember the last name off the top of my head.
Baby
Deacon, and it was given to her by one of the Callahans. It was given to her mother, and then her mother had it on her wall at her house, and then when she passed, it was then donated back to the home. Now, it was hanging upstairs and has been in the house since at least to the point where Leslie was here. It's no longer here. Brittany's gone over the place and tried to find it. The only other thing I can check is to see if it was donated possibly to the museum or put in the archives at some point. But that's concerning to me that we've had things that she specifically said, I can't wait to come to the house and see that painting. Oh. And I don't know where it is. And Karen and I are looking at each other going, I don't know what she's talking about.
It was her mother's.
It was her mother's. And it's concerning that we have things that have just are no longer here.
It was a painting of Callahan House.
It was
given
painting
by the Callahans to Edie's mother.
Mm-hmm. And now was given back to the house. It was hanging directly outside the office, and it's no longer
I
here.
wish I had a picture. I wish you had a picture of it, because
I
I'm trying to
know.
in my mind picture what it looked like.
Yeah, and it's concerning, and I'm concerned on where that just went, and then how do we answer to somebody that wants to come and see it? And it was donated to the house, and I know that we were now with our donation policy closing these loopholes. So, but at some point we should know where that went. And I also question where the doors were in the basement, the historic doors from this house that were taken out of the house over COVID. They're no longer there. Where did they go?
The doors.
We had doors stored in the basement in this far corner, and they're no longer there. At some point, this board used to do inventory,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were part of the inventory, and at some point, we are no longer included in the inventory. What happened to those items that have just dropped off the inventory list? I'd like to see where they went and what. I mean, it is city property, and it's concerning to me that things were just.
When did we stop, or when did this inventory stop?
That's one of the things I was speaking with when Kathy became manager, that it was discontinued, and I questioned we have items that are missing and we have to be answerable to them. And it's really sad that I have to go back to her and say, I have no idea where that went. We don't know what happened to it. That causes a problem with us, our accountability.
Yeah. Well, we can check with the museum about the painting. I don't know if they would have taken it into archives.
But I want it recorded that this is a concern. I want to look at those inventory lists, and I want to know were things just given away at some point. What happened to the historic doors that were in the basement? Were they sold?
Were they donated to somebody? Where did it go? It's like the original window that was taken out here. What happened to it? Was it sold? And I know for a fact from dealing with historic houses and being on the Historic Preservation Commission, windows like that and other things that are very sought after items to have an original to put back into another historic home. They're not inexpensive. So once that was taken out, where did it go? What happened to it?
Which window?
The window that was
Keyhole?
yeah.
The original
Transom window?
The transit window out here that was
Oh,
replaced instead of repaired. What happened to it? And at that time, also the windows above the doors that then the Questers donated, those used to be the lead glass windows. Those just disappeared. Where did they go? I mean, we have to question that stuff.
Can you you just mentioned multiple things. Can you give us a list
Sure.
of items?
Sure, I can do that. And I reached back to past board members, and we were talking about this at the tea, and we had that tea, and people were saying, "Oh yeah, we had that," and it just when the window was repaired, things were just misplaced. It's concerning to
Who
me.
said that?
Well, my mother-in-law, for one.
Okay.
And Mary has sat on the board for years, and I'm just like, okay, and when did the inventory stop? That, okay, people, this is why I thought it was so important that we had this donation policy put into place. People come in and donate a cup or a saucer, and then somebody else comes back and says, well, my grandma or my aunt donated such and such so many years ago. Where is it? And they want to see it. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Do we have, if you pick up one of those cups, is there the name of the person?
There should be. It used to be on the inventory. We used to have a list of absolutely everything that was in the house. You went and counted all the dishes,
Yep, it did.
and
All
you
the
did
books.
all the books, everything. So
Linens.
linens.
Wow.
There's an inventory that was done every January by the board.
Well, what I can do is go back and find where past inventories live, have those compiled and available, and set up an inventory. I mean, I would love help with that. Set up an inventory in January, the time to do inventory in January. If you can put a list of these items that you've mentioned, then maybe we can do some digging. But if we can't find the answers that we want, at least we have a better plan moving forward.
My big thing is I want to know while there's a living memory, rather than we have people that are still alive that can say, oh yeah, so and so took that, or somebody out there knows what happened to the items.
Okay.
We just need to figure out where they went. And I'm not accusing anybody. I'm really not. I just want to say, just so we know where they went.
Yeah.
It would be nice to know the original doors were downstairs. They were there,
What doors are you referring to?
right here. The doors, any doors or anything that were taken downstairs and stored. The window over here in between the space, we have that. There's also a slab of broken marble and other things that were used in the kitchen.
I saw those up in the attic. when I was
Yeah,
looking for the
so
paintings.
there's certain things that are still here and other things aren't. And I questioned, okay, so we kept those pieces, but why did we keep the others? And I just wonder where they went.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, if you can make a list, that would help me do some digging.
I don't have the exact number of the doors, but it should be in the inventory somewhere.
Okay. And I can find old inventory sheets and we can look into that. Maybe even as part of inventory in January, if the board can help with that, we can, part of that can be looking through old sheets and seeing when things were recorded. and when
I
they
will
weren't.
volunteer right off the bat. I
Great.
think it's really important that we as board members have the accountability as well to know and help. And this is part of being a working board, to help so we know what's here, so we have more knowledge of it.
I'll volunteer also.
Thank you.
They're volunteering to
help
Do
with
inventory.
And that's in line actually with what we've been trying to do in recreation, which is inventory. General stuff within our facilities a little bit better than we have. So this is different, but it's right in line as far as the doing of it.
Mhm.
What we've been doing. So I fully support that.
Well, and who's to say? Maybe some of the stuff went to the museum and we don't know about it. I don't know. But it's just one of those things that, okay, you know, what's stored underneath the auto house? I don't think anything's under there, but there's.
You found a lot of chocolates,
There's nothing.
It's not something
But-
that-
But I do know for a fact there were a larger number of doors that were stored down below where the heating unit was, and then over COVID they just were gone.
Right, well, yeah, we can,
And I only know that from walking through, just saying, okay, well that's weird. What happened to those? You know, just from walking down in the basement, and I don't even know why we were down there. We're doing
just
something.
looking around the other day when Cindy and I were new board members and wanted to see everything.
Yeah.
A few months ago.
So it's just one of those things that it's like when, but I believe Jacqueline's aware that about, I don't know, and she may or may not be, but I'm there's something in regards to certain things were taken out, and I just don't understand where they went and why they went. It's just it's not like that space is being used for different storage.
Okay. Well, I'll see what I can find document wise and reach out to the
And honestly,
museum
I'm also going back to speaking with, I think we should ask Connie Newman, because she here said at some point there was a house cleaning done and things were just put out and people could take whatever they wanted
Outside?
from the board members.
I've never heard of that. Yeah.
Connie said that to me at one point. She said, oh yeah, there are some dishes and stuff that, and we're just giving away. I'm like, what?
Well, hopefully those were just random bits, but.
Random bits, but I don't know. That's another reason why, again, I just hope it's this painting in particular is not on somebody's wall.
When was the last time anybody actually saw this painting? 'Cause
What
I cannot remember.
I asked it specifically when Leslie Boynton left. She left it on the wall hanging.
So it
in
hasn't
her
been,
office.
no one's seen it for like 6 years.
I don't recall.
12 years.
I have
12
no
years.
12, okay, so that could have been, that's ages ago then.
You didn't have.
I don't
that.
recall ever seeing one hanging there. It's
That's one of those things, though. It's really uncomfortable when it says, "I look forward to coming back and seeing this." And I'm like going, "Oh God, I have no idea what you're talking about."
yeah, there's nothing I can say.
Can you verify the name of the artist?
I'll talk to him. I can get the spelling and everything for it.
Okay. That might help.
But she was, yes, I will. And it was a local artist that then made it big national. Her name was, I remember the first name being mine. So Maureen, I'm like, but well, they're not great. but there's very few Marines that I know. So that's one of those things that yeah, I'll get the last name.
Okay.
But, you know, going back to a good note, thanks so much for bringing the wreath. That's great. Sorry.
That was very informative, thank you. Okay, future agenda items. The only thing on here is more information on the e-blast content, anything coming out?
No, so what we talked about the last time, the reason that this is still on here is just, if anybody has like little historical bits or pieces that they want to put together that can go out, that would be, you would create the content for that and I can put it together to go out as part of our Callahan specific constant contact. So if anybody has a did you know or just something that they want to share about Callahan House or their experience here, that is always
Karen was
open.
talking about the holiday one, right?
Yeah.
What we used to do. I don't know.
Oh yeah. We talked about. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, we talked about
Good memory.
talking about the history of decorating, the board decorating the house for the holidays, and getting some photos of that happening and saying, look, report's done, here's the history of having done
I
this, and
think
now
that's
you
what
can
we're
come
talking
see
about
it.
for doing for December at least, and then I don't think we had even touched the rest of it.
Yeah,
December
well,
we
and-
covered.
Okay, so that one, yes, and we'll get photos, I think, during, and there's some past photos of decorations that the board had done. I think that would be a fun then and now, and come see it for, and to advertise the holiday open
I
houses.
think I saw any of the scrapbooks of people decorating.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's not
I
that,
think it must have been Karen mentioned that there was.
maybe
I
there's
think
some.
she said she had a photo, or she
Okay.
knew of one.
I mean, I've got some recent ones that I took while we were, but that's only
Okay,
recent, so I
well,
don't.
I'll connect with her about the then portion, but we can
Can
get
we-
photos on the 29th.
I'd be
See if
happy to
that's a
take
good one or
photos,
not.
Yeah, please don't publish anything unless.
Please don't put that out.
So, but the rest of it is if
if
anybody has content moving forward.
Oh my God.
And then does that need to continue to live on the agenda anywhere, or that's just an open, if anybody has content?
I think we just keep it where it is.
Yeah, that way it only
That's
takes a
okay.
minute to ask, and if we don't have anything.
Okay,
Okay.
that's that.
Is there any other comments anybody has to throw out here? Okay, then, can I get a motion that we adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
A second? I'll second it. Second. Okay, all approved?
Aye.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.